pretty hard to pin down when I really started working on art. I mean, a lot of artists say that, but I definitely have been working on drawings my whole life and doing creative things. Like, I used to like to try to build things, and I used to hear music in my head, so I had a piano in the basement and used to like learn how to find the notes that I heard, and then I actually taught myself how to write the notes of music from a little book that was in the bench for the piano. It showed all the notes so I could write down the songs that I heard. So along that same time, I was doing a lot of drawings too. And then I did get into comic books as a kid, like a lot of kids did, and I started kind of trying to emulate some of the things I saw in those comic books. The different poses, the way to tell a story, the expressions on the character's face were really powerful, and a lot of perspective. The way that like maybe like you're looking down on a city, and you have those lines going in and the perspective lines. So I learned a lot from comic books. I think doing creative things, making art, that was never really a question for me. That was just what I do. And so I knew I was going to go to art school. My parents fully supported me with that decision. And so my whole time in high school, I was doing extra classes at the, I was living in Maine, so I went to the Portland School of Art in Portland, Maine, and did some figure drawing classes and some photography classes, kind of priming myself and prepping to be going to art school. I think I probably had, the best mother that there ever has been. Now I know a lot of people might try to say that as well, and they're probably right too, but my mother was really good, and I think like her believing in me and her believing that like you should really go for what you believe in and what you want to do with this life, that impacted me a lot, and I think that stuck with me just still today, to be compassionate towards other people and to be kind of helpful and supportive of other people and help them kind of go in the direction that they want to go to. It's just sort of an internal drive, really. There's a feeling inside me when I wake up in the morning that like there are things to make, and there are things to continue to explore, and this whole journey. And so I wake up pretty much every day. I feel pretty good because I know that I do have things to work on. I have a place to work. I have people to work with, and so I have everything that I need for my support system to allow that journey and that adventure, really, to learning more and to trying to get to whatever this goal is that I'm chasing. The excitement is there all the time. I'm kind of that type of person where I get really excited about things. People will tell you that if they know me. And when I find something that I do get excited about, I will stick with it and I will build upon it until I kind of blow my own mind, maybe, or at least like find something that's really interesting that I want to share with other people too. I've heard it's a little contagious when I do get excited, so that's why I started working with some other groups, like to do figure drawing sessions, and working with high school students and trying to kind of share that energy and that excitement that I'm lucky enough to have. I have to say art pretty much saved my life. First of all, I've had some hard times where I was doing a lot of really intense work with startup companies, and had a lot of stress. I'm the type of guy that works all the time, never stops. That's a curse, not necessarily a blessing, and it got the best of me for a while. But that's about the time when I got my art studio back. I hadn't done art for, specifically fine art. I'd done a lot of creative things my whole life, but I hadn't done fine art for a long time, and so I got an art studio around that same time, and it really helped me to de-stress and to like kind of put some of my nervous energy maybe into a solid product, which was really just making paintings, making drawings, and putting together some shows. I started having shows, and working all of that together, it turned me around, and it made me feel very positive. I didn't feel like some of the stress caused my back to be in pain a lot, and but now I wake up pretty much every day and I don't have any kind of pain, and I just feel pretty positive and good. And a lot of that has to do with I know that there's art to make and there's things that I still want to do. And community is really important to me and the work that I do, because first of all, without community, what good would art really be? I mean, I guess it would be good for me personally because I feel good making it, but after that happens, when you finish the art, you put it out into the public, you get a chance for like kind of that dialogue, and you get the energy going back and forth of people viewing it. Maybe they're experiencing something, maybe they talk with me about it, maybe I get more feedback from them, and it helps me to continue to develop what I'm doing. But that's not really all of it. I really enjoy giving back to the community, and so that's why, I don't know, I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago, I started hosting drawing sessions, figure drawing sessions, life drawing, where I hire models and then publicize the events, and then artists come and they do drawings, different intervals, 1 minute drawings, quick drawings, studies through 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, up to 20-minute poses. And then other times we do a long session where the entire 2 hours worth of drawing is dedicated to one single pose, where the model does 20-minute pose, takes a break, does the same pose again. And so I really enjoy that feeling of providing this for the community. I just think it's really good for people to get a chance to share that good feeling. Like for me, it's kind of like, it's almost a spiritual thing. It's, it's sort of maybe what some people would think of with church. It's kind of a church-like experience where people kind of gather, they all have like-minded thoughts in some ways, like that they want to make art, and so we share experiences, and we feel really good at the end of it because it's just a really good way to spend your time in your life. So a friend of mine that he actually did Mural Fest in Albuquerque in 2017, 2018. JP, he got 50 different artists to do walls. It was amazing. That was one of the best things. That brought so many artists together in this community, people that I still am great friends with today. I met all of them because of JP and Mural Fest. My wall is still up. It's a 90-foot wall downtown, facing kind of like the launch pad. It was a collaboration with TJ again. It's still up. It needs to tune up, so maybe we'll get a chance to work on that. But I have a saying that I want to put on a T-shirt, and but really what it is that figure drawing to me is like going to the gym for artists. You go and you work on your muscles, your eye, looking and putting what you see down, and looking and putting what you see down. Like when you're in the gym, it's not really about thinking, right? It's about doing these motions and getting better at them and getting tuned and getting strength. It comes down to this: your brain is a genius. Your mind is a fool. And so what that means to me is that like your brain can do so many things already that you might not even trust that it can do. But your mind wants to get in there a lot of times and like try to pinpoint all these kind of equations and things that like are unnecessary, because really you already can do it. And so that's what I try to achieve with drawing sessions, is to get to that point where you're truly in the moment, and you're seeing and you're putting it down, and you're feeling and you're putting it down, and there's really, you're just watching yourself do it. You're not even thinking about what you're doing. You're watching it come out on the page, and I think that's when it's at its best process. When you're locked into some work you're doing, like for me, making a painting or a drawing, but it's probably true with anybody really, when you have something you're passionate about and you're working on, I think what happens is time just kind of is, you kind of see it for what it really is, maybe, is just like, not really a clock, but there's just these things happening, and you're working on this piece, and time just kind of drifts away, and you become so absorbed in there that it takes you over, and you're almost like a part of the art that you're making. And there's like this conversation between what you're creating and what you're thinking and feeling and trying to learn about. When I work on a piece of art, generally I don't even know what that art's going to be when I start out. To me, it's a very healthy thing. Now, everybody's got their own different ways. Some people, they start out with a concept, and then they drive towards that singular concept, maybe even a title for their piece. For me, what I like to do is start off with a blank canvas and just start working on it, and I have no idea what this thing's going to be. And I'll just keep adding and subtracting and turning it. I like to work on squares a lot because I just keep turning it. And then what happens is as it evolves, you start to see what this painting is. And as that happens, maybe a title comes to mind. Maybe some kind of focus of what this meaning is behind this. And as that happens, you start to understand what the piece is. And that's when I feel like it's kind of done, or at least where it's done enough where I can finish it. Well, I started out, drawing from comic books, and I collected comic books, and I held them dear to me, like they were like my world. I protected them, and I didn't let anybody touch them because they might hurt them, and you didn't want the grade to go down. People get a little over enthusiastic about that sometimes, but they have monetary value, so it makes sense. But so when I started getting back into painting and working in the studio, I had a bunch of comic books sitting around, and I remember that as I was getting inspired to working on this new piece, there was a few comics I had that had been read so many times they were all torn to shreds, really. And so I just kind of shredded them a little more and made little pieces and used them as collage elements in a painting. And then that really resonated with me. Although it was very hard to tear them because, like I say, I protected these things with my life. Like if somebody would have ripped one of these things when I was a kid, that wouldn't have gone over very well with me. But now, and it was more painful when I started it, but kind of tearing these things I love so much, but then putting them up onto the art, it felt really good. It felt like the real crime wasn't ripping them up, but it was leaving them in a box in my closet. I think so. A lot of like growing up reading these comics, I think it got in my mind all this mythology and all these hero. What is a hero? What is a god and these goddesses and all these things that are in these crazy stories I was reading. And so as I was like working on my paintings and stuff again, and using these comics, I think that kind of maybe bled through a little bit into some of the meaning I was finding as I was working on the pieces. Titles started coming to me, or like ideas of like, oh, this kind of reminds me of like a goddess of fertility. This kind of reminds me of similar things like that. And maybe I would start exploring that and like researching what are some of the ancient maybe goddesses of fertility, for example, and then find titles for my pieces from that. And then it started giving me meaning that I was looking for as I read about what this character was. Just by naming that piece, that I think it gives somebody that wants to look into it a little more of that journey too, where they can get some of those feelings that I was feeling. One great thing about working with these comic books as a collage element. By the way, I don't use collage like a lot of people. A lot of people, they'll cut out particular images from maybe different reference, magazines and newspapers and all that, and put that on there, which is great. Everybody's got their own technique. For me, I'm more using my ripped shards maybe of paper as like brush strokes, and they're more expressive. So it's less about getting just one color on the piece. So maybe I just use it as like multiple colors as a brush stroke and build from there. But what happens when I'm working with the comic books is it's kind of a magical kind of experience, because I open up the comic when I'm going to do some work, and it's almost like a time portal, because I'm looking at this story that I haven't seen maybe since I was 7 years old, and it's like it honestly takes you back to how you were at that time. And for me, it just like, it kind of like removes all the adult concerns that people get as they get older. And it really just puts you in this pure state of mind where you're like open to fascination. And so I think that working with these books helps me to really get into that mode where like I'm not overthinking things and I'm just enjoying the moment. Currently, I have a few different types of projects I'm doing. I'm always working on my paintings and making, keeping with that. I have some of those going on. I have my life drawing sessions where I've been working with high school students, setting up drawing sessions at different high schools and allowing those students to experience that. Just like what happened to me when I was in high school. I went to college level drawing, and that really helped me and inspired me. And so I go out and do that with the high school students. I'm also working, I have a mural project that I am hoping to do soon. And I'm also doing some technology-based art. Working with the city, Public Arts, on a project that is going to be built downtown on a wall right downtown. And it's going to involve LED lights, microphones, basically converting sound frequencies into light, into color frequencies. Working on that project now. That's a lot different from working on fine art, and so I just have to get back into it and doing the programming. I'm soldering the wires, I'm building the structure. I have some people that I'm working with that are really good too, because I believe in having a good team. It's really important. What does the future look like? That's a great thing to imagine. For me, I want to keep doing what I'm doing right now. Like if I just got to do this until, however long I have, I would be willing to do this every day. I'd feel really good about it, just like what I've got right now. But I also do want to expand in some ways. I have some ideas about maybe how to reach out to like maybe find some other galleries in other cities that are interesting to me to show there. And I want to combine that with maybe some figure drawing. So I want to meet drawing session groups in those other cities and kind of try to interact and be part of the community there a little bit. Just meet people that are like-minded, because they love drawing too. I have some visions for some murals downtown. I love being part of the community with the drawing sessions, and I also love murals because you get to put some art out there, and whatever it is that you're trying to communicate. But like, I have a lot of feelings of like hope that I try to put in mind. Kind of, I think really that's just inner strength and hope, and feeling good about something, and maybe feeling deeply about it too. I like to make art like that, and then share it with the community. That's another nice way to give back to the community. I'm also part of a project right now. It's a COVID memorial. They're building a park, and so my design was chosen. Fortunately, it's a nice thing to be chosen out of 75 artists from the Southwest, like I guess California, across the Texas area, down here, and they're going to be big steel plates, 8-foot by 4-foot steel panel with shapes cut out of it. Of course, I got birds. I always like to work with birds a lot, and so I'm excited about that. It's another way to like be part of your community. Being part of like memorial. I also have a piece, one of my favorite collage pieces, a fan favorite. It's a butterfly that I made where the wings are comic books inside the wings, and that one is up at the new tower in the UNM hospital they just built. We just installed that last year, and that makes me happy that's in there because, if people go to a museum to see your art, or if they go to the gallery to see your art, like that is great, and that's a great thing. If somebody's in the hospital, it might not be for such a great reason, and so I like that my art is in there, that people get a chance to come down and they can look at it and spend some time with it, and maybe get kind of that good feeling that I feel like that I put into it. This is a piece I just finished. It's called Caspia, which is a type of flower. It's kind of a little purple flower, and a lot of times it kind of represents like a long standing relationship or something like that, because those flowers, they'll stay for a long time. So I just kind of did a little bit of research on that to get that title. This is based off a photograph from a photographer from Chile, I believe. I just somehow just came across the photo and really liked the image. And so that's what we've got here. Is the flowers are made as kind of my collage technique of just ripping up the pieces and using them almost like brush strokes. That's what you'll see in here. Of course, we have the birds, a lot of times representing transcendence or a connection with the spirit world. And so that's a common theme that I use. And I got, some messy handwriting on here. I'll do writing while I'm working. Sometimes ideas just come across my mind, or words, and I don't really try to think about it. I just kind of write automatically what those words are. Sometimes I can read it. Sometimes I can't even read it anymore. But sometimes I've also pulled a title out of it. I had one piece that was called Listen to Your Gifts. And that was where I got the title, with some of the words I had written. I had forgotten all about it. Here's a good example of a piece that begins with absolutely no concept at all. A lot of mine are like that, but this certainly is, where a lot of the background just went on first, and then the comic book strips kind of get added, and then I start to see potential composition elements, like a big shape here and a big dark area there, and then that's when I did use a photo reference for this, for the face, and that's when you kind of start seeing that, like how that might look good, and then I just kind of paint it on there and do some layering back in. Sometimes I glue the comic books back over the top and paint it, and just kind of trying to keep those layers looking like they work together, and that one's not dominating the other. The reason I do specifically monarch butterflies is when I was about 7 years old, I was out in the playground at school, and I remember that a butterfly came and landed right on my hand. And it was there, and it's just kind of like slowly pulsing. And I was looking close at like the joints and like how just the beautiful, almost like nature, the science behind it, or just like how it's a little machine that's just working. And it was so beautiful and fascinating. And so I think that's a good thing for people to try to keep, is that youthful zest for seeing things that are amazing and taking the time to actually look at something and be fascinated by it. And so that is why I work with this symbol specifically. The world is only going to change, right? Everybody's like, can you change the world? The world is never going to change with one thing. Well, I guess it could, but the way it's really going to change, the way the world is going to change, is by zillions of little tiny little changes. And so I think that if you can, submit anything for that effort, that's a great way to be part of your community.